Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are broadcasting from FIGAN on the second day of the exhibition. During the next minutes, we will be talking about pro production, specifically about old but also current problem, the tail biting. So our guest today, it seems she knows a lot about this topic. Is that right?
Yes.
Aurélie Auvray.
Yes.
Welcome to the interview and thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you.
Aurélie Auvray, she is the Swine Market Manager in Phodé. Is that all right?
Yes.
So, Aurélie, let's start by the beginning. Why do pigs bite themselves?
Okay, thank you, Facundo, for this question. Actually, it's not an easy question to answer, but I will do my best to answer that. The fact is, it's really hard to predict which pig will become a biter because there are a lot of parameters who can be involved in this abnormal behavior. But what is sure is that when you have a biter, it means that these pigs have reached a limit where he accumulated too much stress. And so that's the time we can see this type of problem happens in the farm.
So the problems with welfare, animal welfare, normally they are related. They have consequences in the economic results of a farm. Do you know any number or any research that can measure which is the impact of having this, let's say, illness or syndrome in the farm?
In fact, again, it's also a tricky question because tail biting can have a lot of consequences on the health, on the welfare, also on the time spent for the farmers to manage those pigs. But for example, if we take the example of the gilts in the breeding farm, so when you have problem of tail biting, it causes problem. It will be a big problem for the farmers because he will not be able to labelize these animals to go to the production farm. So he will lose the value that he has with the genetics. So it's a big amount of money. But to talk more about the production side, there are some studies reported that the actual costs of the tail biting will be between 1 to 3% of the value of the animals. So nowadays, with the cost, the price of the pigs, that's a lot of money, like 2 to 4 euros per animal. So it's really difficult to give numbers, but we know that the consequence can be huge. Now, if we want to talk more about maybe the prevalence of tail biting, here again, there are some studies reporting that depending on the country, the percentage of tail biting can be between 15 to 25%. These numbers came from a slaughterhouse who record the tail lesion. But what we know is that this problem is everybody can encounter this kind of issue, and yes, it can cost a lot of money.
So you say that stress is basically the trigger of this problem. Which are the most important predisposing factors to reach to that point of stress?
In fact, there are what we call external factor and internal factor. So external factor will be what you can manage at the farm level, so the density, so space allowance, the quality of the feed, the quality of the air, the temperature, the lights, everything that can be managed at the farm level. And then you also have what we call an internal factor, like the age of the animals, the genetic, but also what is really important is the sensitivity of the animal to stress, because each animal has his own capacity to handle stress. And that's a parameter that unfortunately farmers cannot act on it at the farm level. So the farmer will be acting on the external factor, but for the internal factor, he cannot do it by the farm management only.
Cool. So Which are I mean, we know something more now about the problem. Which are the tools available now in the market, let's say generally, to face this challenge?
Once again, there is no silver bullets to end the problem of tail biting because it would have been too easy. But what is important is the support that the farmer will have with his technician and the veterinarian in order to control the key risk factor, like I said, the density, the ventilation, which is also really important, the nutrition also, it has to be also well balanced, etc. So it's more, yes, to take care of the preventive action that you can have in order to reduce the stress level and to avoid to reach the limit where the animal are not able to adapt anymore and where you will see the problem of tail biting happens.
So the general advice will be like avoid reaching to that point, like
yes,
in every...
The general advice is reduce as much as possible the stress that you have in your farm, but of course you still have key stressor in the farm like weaning, transfer, mixing, and those factors you cannot erase them because it's part of the farm and the farm management. So that's why it's also really important to take care about the sensitivity of the animals and to try to improve these parameters.
So Aurélie, could you tell us how Phodé, your company, could contribute to animal welfare in the case of tail biting?
Yeah. So in this case, what Phodé is doing, so we are working a lot about the olfaction and also the stress and the brain of the animals. And we have been developing a specific product named VO, which will help the animal to adapt better to the stressful situation. And this is due to a specific action on the brain, which will help the animals to elevate his adaptation capacity. So the animals will be able to answer better the stressor that he will receive, like for example the weaning, as I said, you cannot change it, the mixing, etc. So thanks to that and thanks to this action on the brain, which is individual action, we are able to improve the adaptation capacity of the animals.
How is that product? Is this an additive that you add to the feed, or how does it work?
Yes, this product is mainly based on essential oil of orange, and it's a powder form or liquid form that you add in the feed or in the liquid feeding system.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Aurélie, thank you so much for your information and for coming.
Muchas gracias, Facundo.
No, de rien. Merci à toi.
Merci.
Thank you for listening to us. Wait until another episode of our interview here in FIGAN. Thank you. Bye.